Now, first of all, I have to say that I'm wearing my sunglasses. And this is because those of you who wear prescription sunglasses know that it can be quite easy to walk around in them and to forget to bring your other glasses with you. So I'm sorry about that. I can see you all perfectly, but I know that it looks like really bad manners for those people of a certain age. None of us is of a certain age because this is the children's talk. And so what I want us to focus on today is a couple of things. So let's think about it. When do Kiwis say hooray? When do we do that?
When we leave.
When we leave. So Colin on his farm goes, hooray! Thank goodness. Thank goodness they've gone. But that's right, we say hooray, don't we? Hooray. But when else do we say hooray?
Sport.
At sport, yeah. Why do we say hooray at sport, Edith?
We're winning.
When we're winning, that's right. So that's the hooray, that's a form of hurrah. And we say hooray. And all the kids in the church today are going to practice saying hooray really loudly. And let's make it quite competitive. So this is the bigger group and that's the smaller group. So let's get the bigger group saying hooray. Hooray!
Hooray!
Now let's get the smaller group saying hooray louder than the bigger group. Hooray! Perfect. Right, you know what to do. So this is a story from a book by Margaret Silf. It's called 100 Wisdom Stories. It's quite a well-known book, and I was really pleased to buy a copy in a second-hand bookshop the other day. So here's number 100. I'm sure the other 99 will follow in good time. The children, it's called The Great Hooray, and it's adapted from a story by Ted Walter. Might be a poem, actually, but anyway, this is in story form. The children of classes 1 and 2 were assembled in the hall, waiting for the class to begin. The visiting poet was with them this morning, and they were all agog with excitement. They always enjoyed his visits. But class 3 was late. The children were getting impatient. The poet looked around at their eager faces. An unnatural quiet descended, as they seemed almost to be holding their breath in anticipation. "You're so quiet," he smiled at them. "You're so quiet today. Let's see if you can make a noise. Let's all shout, hooray!" So a shout went up. Hooray! "That's splendid," he beamed. "Now when class 3 arrives, let's play a game with them. Let's all be as quiet as mice. And when they're all in their places, we'll all shout a huge hooray. We'll shout that to greet them. We'll see if we can raise the roof. Agreed?" The children were thrilled at the idea. They became quiet again, and you could have heard a pin drop. Class 3 came into the hall, just like the Scudders. Here they come. Class 3 came into the hall, and they were sorry they were late, but that's all right. Come over here. Come over here. Come on. Sit anywhere. They sat down quietly, and then on a signal from the poet, hooray! And Greg and Glimpse are thinking, what is going on in church today? The great hooray resounded through the hall, through the school, through the whole village. And oh, imagine! The roof flew off. Off it flew, leaving the blue sky open above the children's heads. Off it flew, over the gardens and houses, over the manse garden, the streets and the trees. And as it went, it dropped hoorays all over the town. Mums doing the washing up suddenly found a hooray in the kitchen. Dogs fast asleep in their corners were awoken by the happy sounds trickling down from the sky as the roof flew past. Through keyholes, windows and open doors, the hoorays crept into every home. Whispers and echoes of joy covered the whole community with morning mystery. Hearts fluttered and lifted at the happy sound. Hooray! And the roof flew on, carrying echoes of joy through the world and bringing the rafters of homes throughout the land into resonance. Later, in the night, the rain came. Oh dear, must be Auckland. And every raindrop picked up the sound of the great hooray. The next morning, the mist that covered the hills and valleys was impregnated with the same cry of joy. It trickled away into the streams and rivers. It crept up the stalk of every flower and nestled in the feathers of every bird. Hooray! 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 As the weeks passed by, the gentle waves lapped against a distant seashore, and the close-curled shells, if you listened closely, recalled that first hooray. Years later, the poet smiled as the echoes of the first hooray gently touched his face again in a passing breeze. He knew another poet, the poet whose first joyous hooray had soaked into everything that is. He knew that his own poems were a tiny echo of that great poem of creation, and he laughed out loud at the mystery of it all. And his laughter bubbled off and away to gurgle forever throughout the universe.
Hooray!
Hooray indeed, hooray. And thank you for being with us, Colin. Hooray for Colin.
Hooray!
Hooray for the mystery that binds us all.